Hello everyone, welcome back. And today is an amazing day because I have Jeannie Edmunds in a studio. And Jeannie has done so many stuff in her lifetime. She's an advisor and mentor to founders, CEOs, startups, in tech, CPG, and travel, and advising them also in development of branding and marketing. And then when they get to the stage of fundraising or getting investment, she comes in and guide them as well. She was the first producer of Larry King's show. I gotta ask you about that. And and she's an author of the Start Me Up, which is I ordered yesterday, and I'm gonna read it. And you've been the executive editor of Healthy Living magazine, producer at CBS. Jeannie has done so much, like Genie in the box.
Genie out of the bottle. That's what
Genie out of the bottle. But Jeannie, how did you accomplish all of this? This is so amazing.
It's just a matter of age, Rami. Today is my birthday.
Oh my God, happy birthday. What a lucky person I am.
Thank you. Today is my birthday. I'm lucky. I'm still alive. I'm 69 today. And I tell everybody how old I am because this has been the best decade of my life, Rami. And I think a lot of it has to do with, for the last 12 years or so, I've been working with startup companies. I started a popsicle company with two other people about 6 years ago, still in business. Barely, but still in business. But I've helped start 3 companies, one in music, and then the popsicle company, and then one, an online platform. And I think that I finally found what I'm supposed to be doing in life, but it took me a long time to figure it out. So in the meantime, I was zigging and zagging through just taking myself wherever life led me, flowing in the river of life.
Yeah, I was actually I was reading about you, and I said, you are the really true entrepreneur that kind of was, your life, and you took chances, you went up and down, but at the end, you kind of trust your gut and approach what you love to do and do what you love to do, which is most of the entrepreneurs these days, there's a lot of listeners, viewers that are watching right now, listening, that they are kind of stuck, they just go wherever winds is blow. And, now they're saying, what do I have to do? I know you have that experience, and your life is always been positive person. You've always been seeing the good side of everything. What would you, advise to these people, to these entrepreneurs that in life and career, what do I have to do now? Where I'm going to go 8 to 9, or I'm going to pursue my dream?
Well, it's interesting. I just read something this morning. It was in my Instagram feed about coaching, about how you're not supposed to tell certain people to just move forward, because many people have trauma. And if they have trauma, you can't just say, just move forward, because they got to deal with how they've been traumatized. And honestly, the entrepreneurial journey is so lonely. It's very easy to feel stuck. It's very easy to have self-doubt. That is what is limiting. The therapists say that people come into their office, they have 2 or 3 problems, but the main one is self-limiting beliefs. And, I think the best advice that I ever gave myself actually and took was just to go with the flow of life. And if you are doing something and you're beating your head against the wall and you're not getting any traction, that means you're not doing what you were put on earth to do. We all have a purpose. We're all here for a reason. And by the way, Larry King, oh my God, he was very, very proud of you because you did not read the book before you start the interview. He always did that. That was his belief, that you should not read about it. You should be just like your audience and not know me. You don't know me. We've never met. So let them discover through the interview who I am. And
that's what I always do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's smart. That's a good strategy.
Yeah,
but anyway, I got off topic. That's me. I'm very ADD, but ADD is my superpower. It makes me creative. I'm open. I'm curious, but
I love that.
It's so true, and a lot of entrepreneurs, I think, because they get excited by that stimulation of like the highs and the lows and the rocket ride and everything. I like that too. And that's why I like being with the small companies anything under 50 people. When it gets to 50 people, it's not interesting to me anymore, even though they're making a lot of money. It's interesting, but to other people. But for me, I really like the small companies that are just starting out. I used to work with the neonatal. Okay, I got an idea on the back of the envelope. I don't usually go there. It's usually $2 to $10 million companies. Although I am working with one company that's smaller right now that I like.
Why you have such a positive and optimistic attitude toward life? I can see in your face. I can actually sitting here in the studio and I can feel that. I can get the energy, believe it or not. You know, I have interviewed so many people from famous, unfamous, you know, but I get that energy from you that, you know, you really put it out there and that really positive energy. Why, how, you know, how you do that?
Well, I think where it came from is my dad. My father was such a positive person and a sunny personality. He was just a wonderful man. He became a politician later in his life. He was a lawyer. I lived in a small town in Virginia, and he would just like go out and shake anybody's hand, talk to anybody. He was very friendly. And you know, it's really good. I'll give you a perfect example in the entrepreneurial world of how that works. Yesterday, I have a new client, a new hourly client. He's an oncologist from Mexico City. He has a new blockchain platform for hospitals and clinics to help them like make more money and, you know, be more efficient and so forth. So about a year ago, I was seated on a plane next to the guy who started Austin Regional Clinics. Very famous.
Oh my God, my doctor is there. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So this guy, Norman, he's just such a nice guy. We talked for 3 hours on the plane. We talked about startups. We talked about his business, insurance, like all the challenges that he has in his business. And I just filed him away in the back of my mind and thought, one day I'm going to talk to this guy. I'm going to like, and it wasn't mercenary at all. I wasn't thinking about doing business with him, but I kind of collect people. And I like to plug plugs into sockets. And I think it comes from booking radio shows and TV shows. I try to find the right person to talk to, the right person to interview. That's a skill, I think. And it's a skill that I developed. And it's now working for me in business, helping my founders meet who they need to meet, right?
You are basically the connector, you know.
I love, and you are too. I know you are.
You know, I'm a realtor, they call it, or you know, this personality test. I really connect with people very well, as you do. And then, you know, what makes you successful? I think that the power, and you can relate to other people, not only to understand them, but also understand their pain and suffering and put yourself in their shoe and say, now what kind of solution I can offer these people that they came to me and they need my help from the startup, from marketing, from development, how you're going to raise, you know, round 1 or 2 or whatever the problem is. I think that's not only an art, is the blessing that some people have, some people don't, but that's makes, I think you makes you unique as far as, you know, helping these other people. But you know, as you know, mentioned, the entrepreneurship and being an entrepreneur is tough. And these days, I don't know what it is, Jeannie, everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. I talk everybody, hey, I want to quit my job. I said, don't, please. Keep your job and keep your side hustle or whatever it is. You know, you can jump into swimming pool. It's going to be cold, brutal, but do that and work it after 6. Kiss the dog, go to town. And just, you know, until midnight or whatever, and just work, you know, 7 to 8 or 4 hours every night. But, you know, the things is that we go back again to what you said. Do we want it or not? Well, how bad do you want it?
That's a good strategy. I mean, my tendency to people is to say, look, this guy's this doctor from yesterday, he's an oncologist. He had a fantastic practice and he's giving up his medical practice because he's on a mission. And his people, his friends are all telling, what are you doing? You're crazy. You're a father. You got children. But he just feels like he's solving a problem. And I think that anybody who, you know, feels driven, it's like an artist, you know, these things are channeled through us. You know, we are not creating these things. Founders are not creating these things. They are like getting some kind of download and like bringing it into the earth, into the world, right? And I often feel that way when I'm talking to clients or even mentoring a company. I feel like I get a message sometimes. I mean, I'm like, the entrepreneur
Wow.
psychic. It's like, it sounds
Yeah.
crazy, right? I'm a psychic, I'm a therapist, I'm this, but, and I also feel like there's so much, Rami, there's just so much badness in the world and so much bad news and the politics and the COVID and all this stuff. And you know what? It gives me so much hope to see what founders are bringing into the world. They're so mission driven, like that free water guy, Josh.
Yep.
Oh
Yep.
my gosh, this
Yep.
guy is going to change the world. He's going to change the world. But not everybody has a big, mission and vision like that. But I have not met a single person. I went to UT 50 years ago. I graduated from college like 45 years ago, but 50 years ago I went to UT, and Austin's changed a lot. But the one thing that never changed about Austin, thank goodness, is the community spirit here. And especially true in the founders community, the startup community. I cannot believe how helpful people are to each other. And I also have a home still in LA, and I work in the LA community. And the only community that's like that in LA is not the startup community, but the cannabis community. That's the way it is in cannabis. And it's because cannabis is terrible there. Everybody's having problems with taxes. It's just a mess trying to be in the cannabis business.
Yeah, that's what, when I have people, I have so many founders and tech founders, they're coming from New York, LA, and San Francisco, as Mountain View, California. The first thing they always ask is, why is Austin like this? Why everybody's the hospitality and, they care a lot. I said, Austin is a place, actually, you find the meaning of what you do.
Yeah.
It's not like transactional. It's not like New York in the 5 second, give me a pitch, how much you're worth, what you do. It's not like that.
That's right.
And Austin, basically, as you said, is a community. And these people, they're coming right now, they are kind of shocked. I say, you have to adapt. Here, nobody's selling.
That's so true. And I also think that, I never pick my seat on an airplane. And you know why? Because I leave it to the universe to seat me next to the person I'm meant to sit next to. And I think that there's no accident that we all end up in the same city together and we all end up meeting each other in the businesses. I meet the right person when I need to meet them and they need to meet me. I learned so much. Even when I'm mentoring someone who's not paying me, I mentor them. I learn from them. And what I learned from one company, I can apply to another company. And I think one of the reasons people seek me out now is because I have so much experience in so many industries. I've done a lot in consumer packaged goods. I've done, tech. I've done, fintech. I've done I just can't even think of all the industries I've been in, because over 12, 13 years, it's just a lot of people, a lot of different kinds of companies.
Yeah, and the Austin is really changed the whole face of the, startup and, the entrepreneurial, journey or life here in Austin is changed. But my question is this, because I get this a lot, maybe you can help me out here.
Yeah.
A lot of startups, here, they start and, they want to just, I think they don't go and figure it out what people they want. They just so attached to their own creation, your vision and everything else. And I'm trying to explain to them, I'm sure you had this experience when you're consulting and advising startups through the Capital Factory and all that stuff. And then, they're so married to that I think they forget the feedback of the customer, which is the face of anything they do. What is your experience on that?
Well, I found that a lot. You're absolutely right. This is one of the most common problems. I find that especially with apps and tech companies. The thing about apps, just talking about them for a moment, how many apps does a person have on their phone?
God, a lot.
I mean, and without offending anybody, nobody wants your stupid app unless nobody wants it unless they're going to use it constantly. So if you're not creating something that people really are passionate about and wanting, and the only way to know that is if you go out and do some customer discovery. And that's kind of the grind. That's kind of like the homework that you have to do before you even decide that's what you may think it's a good idea, but the audience is going to tell you something different. Your customers may tell you something different. Now, there are many exceptions to that. There have been some successful apps, like the Corey from WeStrive. I mean, he's like hit on.
Oh, actually, Corey, I just had a podcast with him.
Oh yeah, Corey is great.
Yeah. And then we will keep talking to each other, and then Corey and I'm going to help him, and he's such an amazing friend and a great idea. The first thing that I am so sorry to jump in your thing, but when we had the podcast, we were talking. The first thing he said, I want to know what this the gym owner wants, this like individual people or the trainer they want. He went and discovered the pain and then create something they needed. And I promised you, he's going to be successful. Besides, he's a young entrepreneur with a great heart, and he's going to be great. VS Drive is going to be a great app, and they're going to grow. They are actually raising money right now. But as going back to you, you are absolutely right.
And Corey is a good example of somebody who figured that out. And also the guys from Schmoody. I don't know if you've talked to them.
Not yet.
Well, they got a lot of traction, and they took some investment in, but they were figuring out that these mental health apps were not really resonating with a lot of the younger audience. So they found their niche there. But so Corey's good. There's another woman with a fitness that will send personal trainers into your house. That's another app that people are finding useful. So some of the apps are apps that people want to use. But for the most part, I mean, sometimes people come to me and they say, oh, I got this cool app. They'll do this. Well, how do you know anybody wants it? You got to do your homework. That's it.
Yeah, you got to do your homework, and that's so important. And that,
by the way, Corey was founder of the year last year at Capital Factory.
Really?
And I was mentor of the year.
Oh, wonderful. I really have to do that. And, I know Capital Factory very well. Josh is a great friend, and all that stuff,
Yeah.
But we have such a bright people. We have such a great mentors in Austin. And I think, as you said, the startup founders or the entrepreneurs, they want to really be successful. They really have to find a good mentor and actually do what they tell them to do. That's the important part.
Sometimes, most of the time I would say yes, but I'm not God. I'm not the be all and end all. So all I can do is give you the benefit of my advice. But I always tell all my founders, look, you're the one who's going to know. You're going to get a lot of advice. And there's something called mentor whiplash. You go in with one mentor for, 30 minutes. The next one tells you something completely different. So you're the one, as the founder, you're going to know the direction you want to go. I often have founders say to me, okay, I need to do this, 10 things. What do I do first? I said, you're the one who's going to know what you got to do for. Of course, there are always a lot of fires. There's always the chicken egg situation. I don't have money. I don't have customers, whatever. If you're doing what you're meant to do in the world, honestly, Rami, I mean, I'm very spiritual about, when I talk to people. I'm weird. I'm not your typical mentor at all. I recognize how weird I am. That's why the Capital Factory, and it always says to me, they're weirdos. The people they don't know what to do with. Go see Jeannie, because she's like done so many different things that, and my heart is open to anybody's passion. They feel like they have to do this. Okay, go see if there's a fit. And if there's not a fit, you're meant to do something else. I read something once. Oh, I'm sorry, Rami.
No. Go ahead. No.
I read something once that said that, and this is true about art, but I think it's also true about business ideas. The universe is full of all these ideas, and they're just waiting to land in a person to manifest them. So all these things are floating out there. So something may land on you, and then you figure out, okay, for one reason or another, you're not the right person to manifest it. Then just wait there for another one will come in. It's like a songwriter writing songs. They don't know where the songs came from. They just download them. I'm weird. You're going to get so much hate for this podcast.
Oh, no. I love it because, I'm kind of you. I'm like you too a little bit. I'm not very religious, but I'm very spiritual, and I believe in God. And the most important thing that I believe, Jeannie, I'm having a podcast with you. I'm listeners and viewers that are watching. Everything happens in your life. There is a reason.
Yes.
This is our belief. The reason that I'm having a podcast with Jeannie, there is a reason. I don't know what the Lord wants or what's happening or the higher power. anybody comes to your life, and this is for entrepreneurs, for startup founders, for anybody, even the friends you meet, there is a reason. We can't explain it. It might be good, it might be bad. You learn something, you gain something, you know. And my best friends, the people that I have right now, we just accidentally met.
Yes.
And then we became great friends. And the God put these people in your life to, you know, just tell you that here you go, this is another opportunity, this is a person you're going to get to know. But at the end, as you had mentioned, it's up to you. You have,
yes.
yeah, it's up to you what you're going to do with that knowledge or with that friendship, because we are all capable
yes.
of giving and receiving. But I believe always, this is my philosophy, that giving is better than receiving, because by giving, you created a better life for yourself and the people around you.
Oh, that's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. And that's why I spend a lot of my time, a significant amount of my time, you know, mentoring through SKU. Also, you know, I'm a mentor for SKU and also for Expert Dojo in Los Angeles, which is mostly international companies, actually. And they really focus on women-led companies. I just joined the advisory board of the Kendra Scott Women's Entrepreneurial Leadership Program.
I heard about that.
Yeah, UT. And I'm working with a lot of young women, recent graduates of UT. And, you know, it just gives me so much hope. Rami, I have a friend called Kami, so I'm calling you Rami. Gives me hope about the world that people are trying to solve, young people are trying to solve these problems. And I said I was on a call last night, a board call, and I said to these young women, you know, I just really have hope, because I feel like our generation has messed up the world in many ways. You know, I mean, you know, my babysitter's generation, the hippies, I was kind of scared of hippies when I was growing up, you know, in a small town in Virginia. I thought, ooh, who are those hippies? And then I came to UT, and I was still kind of scared of hippies, even though I was surrounded by them at UT in the 70s. But so I think the hippies may have had the right idea, because there's a new generation of hippies coming around who care about the earth. They care about solving problems. Josh Clifford would never describe himself, the guy from Freewater, would never describe himself as a hippie, but that generation is very mission driven. And I'm so encouraged by that. And you know what? Honestly, I've had such a good life. About 6 or 7 years ago, I was ready to die. I didn't want to die, but I thought, okay, I've lived a fantastic life. I sang in the White House. I was a CNN reporter. I did more than my wildest dreams growing up in this little town of 1,000 people in Virginia. But I was kind of ready to die. And then, you know, as I go on working, and in fact, I had a husband who died in 2016, had cancer, and it was very sudden. It was that brain, you know, glioblastoma. And he was gone in 6 months. And so I thought, okay, he's died. My daughter is 18, you know, we've gotten her through, and, you know, I could just go on and die. But the more I work with startup companies, the more encouraged I got, and the more I wish I could live for 40 more years to just see how it's all going to turn out. This afternoon, I'm mentoring a company, Flying Houses. Have you ever seen those guys?
Wow, no.
Flying houses on propellers. And now they have changed this. I wish I could remember the name of it, but they've changed it into a modular real estate play. So they'll fly these sections in of houses, you know, and assemble them vertically. And they were at South by. They had a demo out there. I saw them. I said, "What is this flying house?" They have propellers on it. It looks like a little tiny home.
Oh my God! You know, going back to what you just said, you know. We all human. I'm 55 years old. I'm right behind you. Don't worry. You know, it's and then, you know, I get such a pleasure and, you know, and satisfaction by helping people. I just interviewed Heather, the founder and the CEO of, you know, Prep to Your Door. And, you know, there's like a food delivery, you know, organic, vegan and all that stuff. And she's really into environment and no plastic, the glass jars, and her philosophy, we talk, it was amazing. And she went through so much, and she went to prison and then came out, and she openly talked about that. And I asked her, Heather, why did you talk about that? She said, because I believe my story is going to help somebody, because the female entrepreneur here in this country, a lot of them, they think they can't do, but they can. But they have to believe themselves that they can do what they want to do, and they have to believe it. And maybe I can move the needles and I can help them out. And as you said, when we hear all these stories, it's so powerful. It's so powerful. Like, it really gives me the juice to get up next day and then go and talk to these people. I do, the day thing that we do, we are a digital marketing and video production and audio engineering company. But, I do this talk show. I don't make any money. I just love doing it. And everybody asks me, well, you do it because this is the stories. And my tagline for my show is, everyone has a story. And I believe we all can learn from Jeannie's story. Jeannie can learn from the other person, even they're young. It doesn't matter how old they are, because the legacy that Jeannie and we looking at it is today.
That's right.
Our legacy is today. Do you believe that?
I totally believe that. And, I wrote this book. It took me about 6 years to write this business memoir, Start Me Up. But the reason I wrote it to like get it out into the world, and it was kind of my creative project. But I really hoped that one person, I took a lot of time, but if it just changed one person, gave one person the hope and inspiration, then it's fine. I mean, I didn't write it to make money. I don't care. But I'm out there and I'm exposing myself to the world, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Rami, after you read the book, maybe you say, oh, I better cancel this podcast. Ooh, get this off the air.
Not at all. Not at all.
Because it's the good and the bad and the ugly of my life. But, I had family members, mental illness problems. I had, drug addiction problems. I had, a lot of, failure in my life too. And like everybody has it. Everybody's got ups and downs. You don't get through life with a free pass. We do not get a smooth ride. And if you had an easy ride on your way up, like through high school, you were the star in high school or whatever, you're going to have a rude awakening when you go out in the world and try to make your way through. And I think the people who had actually a little tougher childhoods are a little better prepared, especially for the entrepreneurship world. I was bullied when I was a child. I came home crying from school every day for a couple of years, really. They called me genie germs. The boys had a game in the cafeteria. They would run around and chase each other, and then they would touch me and then go touch each other and say, oh, you've got genie germs. It hurt me so much. And my mother's advice was terrible advice. She said, let it roll off your back like water's off a duck's back. No,
sometimes it doesn't happen.
That's terrible advice because it's painful. Words are, and that's why emotional abuse is as bad as physical abuse. And so when I'm dealing with entrepreneurs, I don't know their backstory. I don't know their childhood. I don't know how they came to this point in their lives. But I really feel that it's my job to uplift them, to feel compassionate towards them, to understand, and I do understand because I've lived it 3 different times with 3 different startup companies. I was part of a very small team. I know the journey. It's not easy, but it's not meant to be easy. It's meant to challenge you and bring out the best in whatever it is that you're meant to bring into the world.
As you mentioned it all about, the failures, the harsh reality of life, all that stuff. I'm a big fan of social media, and I think the social media is a great tool, but I just pay attention. Nobody talks about their pain, suffering, failure, everything. They just put every good things in the social media, even though behind the scene they are miserable.
Yeah.
But they don't. And I talk about my failures. I talk about what I went through, PTSD during the war, and I came to this country 27 years ago, no language, no speaking, divorce, name it, everything. I couldn't even speak one language. They called me terrorist after 9/11 because I'm from Iran, all that stuff. But, it is what it is. That makes us stronger. It's not, I can't just back up. It is part of life, but nobody talks about the harsh reality, pain and suffering and everything. I don't know what it is. They think that's sign of the weakness. I don't know.
I think that you can find some channels where people are a little more open about it but you have to look for it because, people, the shiny objects are out there in the front.
Yep.
But there are people in the background who are trying to help people, on their spiritual journey and help people overcome things like PTSD and all of that. But honestly, the thing is fascinating, immigrant, because to me, immigrants are the ultimate entrepreneurs. Everyone should look to immigrants as their perfect example of how the starting over that immigrants have to do. And, you're leaving part of your heart behind. I lived in Korea for 2 years. I lived in Ukraine for a while. When I was CNN correspondent, I know what it feels like to have part of your heart still, in your homeland. And, you play the national anthem, you start crying, because you're there, you're in another country. But, and especially language and where you're going to make money, how you're going to do it. I just am in awe of people who move to another country and start their lives over. That's the ultimate reinvention of yourself. And that's the ultimate, and that's why many of them become entrepreneurs, because what else are they going to do?
And I, going back to, what you said, you've been overseas, I'm sure you saw that we have everything we need here.
Yes.
Like when I came here, like, for example, the 2-3 years ago, was it 4 years ago, the storm here happened, and everybody, they were rushing to HEB, Whole Food, getting water, and I just pulled over and I was looking at these people and I said, okay, I went to revolution, I went to a war, and then we were eating one block of cheese, a couple of pieces, like a bowl, like a piece of bread, and then one bag of rice and everything. Yes, we were living during the war like that. My mom was saying it. And I was going to school, and aircraft during the war, they were maneuvering over town and turning off the light. And then my mom said, turn the candles off. And then we turned the candles off after the aircraft, they were gone. And then we have to turn the candles on and do our homework. And I said, what is wrong here? Why we do that? It's just so for us as an immigrant and me that we went through a lot in life. I love United States. I'm Iranian American right now. My wife is American. I got 3 kids. But this is a land of opportunity. This is a land that I always say, don't break the law, respect other people's. You can be anybody you want to be.
Yes.
And, this is that a lot of countries, they don't have. And when we come here, that's what everybody asking, why these immigrants are successful. Look at it in the Google, look at it in the Facebook, everywhere. They're everywhere from different countries, because we understand what we have, and we are grateful for what we have. And I'm not saying that the Americans are not, but I'm just saying that we feel it, we understand it, and we are grateful. And every morning I get up, I say, thank you, God.
Yeah. I find that the people who are the most fearful of immigrants are the people who haven't traveled. And travel really opens your mind and broadens your worldview, and especially if you travel in the poorer countries. But you can even travel to parts of America. Look at Jackson, Mississippi right now. It doesn't even have clean water to drink.
Yeah.
I mean, and I grew up in the Jim Crow South, where we had colored and white drinking fountains. And in the doctor's office, they had a colored waiting room with the chairs had kind of tears in them and everything. And our waiting room, the white waiting room, had a fish tank and stuff to look at, and the poor little kids back there.
Wow.
And I asked my mom, I said, why is it that way? And she said, that's just the way it is in the South. So thank God things have gotten better these days. But anyway, we kind of got off the startup topic, but I think that the grit that it takes to come to another country, learn a new language, whether you have some funds. Many people who come here have no money. They have no money. So they're the ultimate bootstrappers. You're right. So I have mad respect for immigrants.
What do you think the entrepreneurial mindset is? What is that, the entrepreneurial mindset? Everybody asking me. Yes, they give me different definition, but what is yours?
I think it's an appetite for risk, and then a sense of mission. I think it's both of those. And when you said that, when people say, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur, and you say, don't quit your day job, that's definitely probably the smarter way to do it. But I would say, I might be a little more daring. I might say, okay, quit your day job.
I was
Because
like
then
you.
when-
I did. And be
Yeah.
honest, now I tell other people that don't do that, but I'm the guy that I jump into the cold swimming pool,
Yeah.
and I was freezing and everything. Said, for all that this is what I want to do. But I work my butt off, Jeannie.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it went through a lot, like
Yeah.
14 hours, 16 hours in the restaurant, and your feet and everything else. But I believed it and I did it. But it all goes back, as you said, that as a mindset, I think, how hungry are you?
Well, speaking of hungry and speaking of your restaurant, which I saw won a big award,
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
My brother had a restaurant and he said, it's like putting a vacuum cleaner hose in your pocket and sucking money out.
It's hard.
That is a hard business. And especially these days, it's hard to find people to work in them. It's unbelievable. But that's what an incredible learning experience that was about being an entrepreneur. I mean, because you open the doors, you don't know if anybody's going to come in and eat.
Nope.
You never know. You throw an event, you never know. You just start a business. So, I think that's why we get back to the homework. Do you know that anybody's going to want your thing? I think, identifying a hole and filling it is a good idea, but you also have to validate it beyond your own self, beyond your own friends.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But the rise of the startups in Austin is a lot right now. Is a lot. Like I heard that 800 startup, they're coming and going, and is a lot. What do you think would differentiate these people, all these startups?
What do you mean? What differentiates them from startups in other cities?
No, what differentiates them as far as to being successful or not successful, or what they have to do? That I'm looking for the differentiation point, because all this startups say, if I do this, I will be different. If I do that, I would be different. The differentiation point, because each startup, I believe, or any app, everything else, as you go back, they have to have that differentiation. But like Jeannie, she's a straight shooter. That's a differentiation point.
Oh, okay. So I'll tell
Maybe
you.
I didn't explain it well, but sorry. But
well, no, there's a couple of different parts of the startup journey. So I would say for investment, it's who you are and your team. That's first. The investors.
That's I absolutely agree with it.
It's who you are. I had lunch yesterday at the Driscoll with a woman who's in her 50s who started affordable health insurance for startup companies and individuals and all that stuff. She was in HR. She didn't know anything about insurance. She taught herself the insurance business, and now Bunker Labs just invested. She's got like all this investment.
Wow.
And she's a solo founder. And I think that it's just her grit, her determination, her smarts, and also an incredible need she's filling. I mean, affordable, health insurance. There's Zebra for car insurance. There's all kinds of car insurance solutions, but affordable health insurance, pretty neat thing. So I think that, they're investing in her. What is your unique value proposition? That is a really important thing to figure out. Now, I'll tell you another example. This afternoon, I'm mentoring a company that they're trying to solve the problem of like organizing your calendar and making sure you don't miss appointments. So it's not like Calendly, but it's sucking in, when do you need to have your oil changed, your pet groomed and all that stuff. This person, I don't know if he knows, but I know a guy in LA who already has a very successful company doing that and has major Silicon Valley investment. And what is he doing going up against this guy? I don't know. So he doesn't know it, but because I happen to know this other entrepreneur and have been following his journey, I'm going to tell him, you better do something different from what this guy's doing, because he's already doing it. So it's either indicating that the guy has not done his homework yet, or maybe he knows and he's figuring out a way to do it. So I'm open-minded, maybe he hasn't explained his value proposition enough to me yet to on paper to be able to evaluate whether or not he can be competitive with that person. But I think you do. Everybody, personal brand, Rami, me,
yes,
Startup Jeannie, we all have to have our unique selling proposition. In the infomercial business, we used to call that USP.
Yeah.
Your unique selling proposition.
proposition. Yeah. I think to add to your, for your idea, that I think the personal brand and who you are and what you're trying to do is always comes first, because I consult with a lot of people. They want to open a restaurant.
Yeah.
And, and I used to work with a bank that I had to review the application for loan for a restaurant. They want to open a restaurant. That was tough. Oh my God. And then I was, and I was asking the guy first question, why you want to do this? Who are you?
That's good. Your why. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I
Very
said,
important.
why you want to do this? And I would draw and I had so many guys that said, thank you. I didn't know what I'm going to get into it. I said, I'm not going to scare you. I've been an operator for many years. I was a dishwasher. I did everything.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to tell you why. And, that why, it became like kind of counseling and consulting session rather than approving the loan application.
Yeah.
And the bank was saying, oh, how you do this? I said, the people, they have to find out who the hell are they.
Yes.
First, self-awareness. Most of this stuff happens in relationship, divorces. They don't know what the heck they want. The business, the same thing. What partner I want, what I'm going to do this. Why is my purpose? Who am I?
That's exactly right. I'm sorry. I was going to say another guy we have in common on LinkedIn. I noticed Larry North.
Oh, Larry.
So I did an infomercial with Larry North many years ago, probably 15 years ago, 20 years ago, where we wrapped a bus. We had
oh my God.
It was called Eat What You Want or something. It was some eating program. And we wrapped this big old bus and sent him around the country, touring to promote this thing. Made him a lot of money. I mean, it was really good. But Larry had a vision for his gyms up in Dallas. And, he's a big beefy, looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's so beefy. But he's a super nice guy, super wonderful person. And it was a very successful infomercial, but his USP for, everybody wants weight loss. It's just common every year. You can keep repeating weight loss programs for the end of time, and people will just be focused on that. And his promise, his USP of his product was eat whatever you want. Who wouldn't want to go for that? You can eat what you want, so long as you don't eat too much of it. So long as you don't stuff yourself with, you can't live on carbs all day long. It tells you there's a diet program. There's a menu planner that goes with it, but it's you can feed in your own favorite foods and all that. What a great solution. I mean, who wouldn't want that? And that's why it was successful.
I have a couple of questions for you. I'm ready to go because you are very busy, I know, and thank you so much. But
sure.
Why you believe that we create our own luck in many ways?
I think we're all presented with opportunities, and it's the ability to recognize those opportunities. We're all presented with them. They're all around us, and we just have to get out of our own way and recognize the opportunities. And I guess that's, there's all this new scientific research that there's so many neurons in your gut, and your second brain is in your gut.
I read a little bit about it.
Yeah. So your second brain is in your gut, and you will feel it almost. You can train yourself to feel when things are right and when an opportunity is right to take advantage of, right? And I'll give you a perfect example. The other day I was going to come to Austin to an event. I live an hour out in the hill country. I got all dressed up. I was in the car. I turned the car on and I couldn't drive. And I really wanted to go to it as an investor event. My friend Cherie Warner was running it at the art gallery.
Yes.
I really want to go, but I could not drive. You know why? Something told me not to do it. And about a couple months ago, I hit a deer on the way home. Freaked me out. God. So I thought, oh, geez, I don't want to take the chance. And something just tell me don't go. So I didn't go. So the older I get, the more I'm trusting my ability. And we're all given that ability. People say that we're all born artists. So we all have that. And then we're told by the world, oh, your art's not good enough. And then we just go off in different directions. I think we're also all born entrepreneurs. Everybody, you have that ability. People take the safe route. They say, oh, I only want to work for big corp. My brothers, they're all, two of my three brothers, jobs and careers, but the other one's a lot more entrepreneurial and like me. And I think it's just because we trust our guts more. And now look, I've worked in big companies. So I know the nice thing about having a steady paycheck and being able to rely on that paycheck. But they don't owe you anything. It could be gone tomorrow.
Do you think that entrepreneurship and being an entrepreneur has anything with the age limit?
No, absolutely. My mother
Look
started acting when she was 60. She got an acting
No
agent.
way.
She's been in a lot of movies.
No
She's
way.
88.
Oh my God.
She just got new headshots, Rami. She
No
is going
way.
out on auditions
Oh my
again.
gosh, she's my hero.
She's amazing. She never went out of the country before she was 50, and now she's been in 74 countries.
Oh,
she is a beast. This woman, she's my North Star.
What a story. What a story. I really admire her. You know, and this is a question I get. VCs or bootstrapping? Which one you
know, I don't swim in the world of VCs very much. I have gotten to know a few more, but I don't think it's an either or, by the way. You do have to bootstrap and then go through the angel round, but nobody should feel required to take on VC money. I mean, people can build a nice $5 million, $10 million company and be happy with that. You don't have to build, you know, the thing about VCs, they don't just want to go to 100 million now, they want to go to $1 billion. So if you don't have a company that has a potential to go to $1 billion, this is what I just heard 2 days ago. If you don't have a company that's going to go to $1 billion, ultimately and by the way, they will kick you out if they don't think you can run the company. So you can have a very nice life bootstrapping. I just talked to a woman who is considering hiring me out of Southern California. She has a reading company. It's called Reading Readiness Centers. She has built 5 of them. They're wildly successful. Now she wants to franchise them. And I was helping her understand that once you go beyond the 5, you start to lose, because you can't visit all 5. You're going to have, you know, models and how you do, because I don't really understand the franchise business, but it's a whole different world. You need to take on more money, bring more people in, more money, more problems. You know, there was a song like that, more money, more problems.
Absolutely. At the end, what is your advice for the people that they're really taking a big leap of faith in life and business, or you know, they really want to get that? What is your advice, like, for these people they're just going to take that big jump? It's
that famous phrase, leap and the net will appear. That is the way I have always lived my life. It may not work. You may fall. The net will appear. Maybe it'll have some holes in it, and then you have to get up again and leap again. Maybe tie you know, sew up the net. But, you know, do it. I mean, we are here. We're alive. We are here to live our lives, not to live it in fear. Be fearless.
That's amazing, because I think I always say that fear is an illusion. Fear is something we create in our life. Fear is something that will hold us back to not do things that we love to do. And it's just a mindset, as you said, and, you know, and some opportunities around you. Take advantage of it. Age is not age. It's just a number, and just go on and do what you love and give as you can to the people that they need that.
That's absolutely right. And, you know, we have choices between fear and regret. Fear is about the future, regret's about the past. And if you're living in fear, that means you're not living in the moment. So you need to be in the moment to build what you're planning to build. You can't, you have to think, okay, what's the path I'm going in? But you have to be in the moment in order to focus on the things you have to do this moment and the next moment in order to get where you want to go.
And then the things, where people they can get to buy the book? Is it in Barnes & Noble?
It's Barnes & Noble, Amazon. Not in the stores. It's Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com.
And then how people they can reach out to you, if my viewer and listeners, they have some question regarding the startups, any coaching, any consulting, anything that they think that, I'm sure, you know, you're amazing, you can help them a lot, but how they can reach out to you? Just through email or?
Yeah, thank you so much, Rami. I'm startupjeannie@gmail.com. And I always do a 30-minute discovery call at no charge for anyone.
Amazing.
So I'm always open to listen to anyone for half an hour. After half an hour, the clock starts. But no, after the first meeting, the meter starts running. But I'm happy to talk to anyone, and I love meeting new people. And thank you so much, Rami. And I look forward to meeting you in Austin.
Me too. I know you got to promise me when you come to Austin, give me a call. We can have a lunch because I am fully blooded Persian, and my first thing with the people that I meet, and I know we have a lot of mutual friends, but I have to Persianize you. There's no other way. And it's a Persian restaurant here. Oh my God, merci, mahbub. Oh my God, where did you learn that?
My mother's mother taught poetry at the University of Tehran.
You are full of surprises, Jeannie. Oh my God. Oh my God.
I love Persians.
Oh my God. I look forward to seeing you, Jeannie. And I had such a good time talking to you. And then we'll catch up soon, send you email, and we definitely can have a lunch and chat more. Maybe we can change lives, maybe we can do more together,
I would love to join you in that.
Because I got a mission. I got a mission to help as many people I can while I'm on this planet. And I think we can do that, and legacies today.
Me too. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Nice talking
you
to you.
Have a wonderful day. Thank you, dear. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.